Hello everyone, this is video number 13 and this is not video number 3 of the series about our journey to the moon. And in this video we will actually land on the moon. So let's go ahead from where we left off last time. And now we are in our Delta Glider 4 add-on. So what we need to do now is, if we aren't lined up with the base completely yet, you just go ahead and zoom in. In this case we are pretty well aligned, just in the middle of that dot right there. But if you aren't, you need to go ahead and use the NML plus or NML minus, then fire some of the main engines just a small bit, so press Control and then plus. So you just add a little bit of main engine in order to correct your orbital path to align on top of the Brighton Beach. But since we are aligned perfectly, then we will not do that. So what we need to do now is that we need to do a deorbit burn from one side of the orbit. So this is the distance around the moon. This is the distance to our target, and we need to wait for this distance to get to about halfway around. So I'm just gonna explain. So let's just time warp until this number is about to go down. So this number is about to go down in just a bit at about 5,440, I think it was. But yeah, when it starts to go down, that means that we are halfway around the orbit from the moon, from the target right here. So this means that we are on the exact opposite side of the target around the orbit. So that means that when we are halfway around, when this starts to count down again, then we can go ahead and lower our PEA, and that will lower our PEA on this side where the Brighton Beach moon base is located. So let's just go ahead and time warp, and we need to be oriented in retrograde, so let's do that. And let's just time warp until this starts to go down, and let's wait for it to go down. And as you can see now, the DST, the distance to the base, is going down. This means that we are halfway around, and then we will use the translation thrusters in order to bring this down to 11 kilometers, so that we are safely above the highest peak of the moon, just in case that we don't hit the terrain on the moon here in 2016 edition. So that means that we are lowering our orbit to 11 kilometers when we arrive here at our target Brighton Beach. So let's go ahead and use the translation thrusters. So let's look at our PEA and then bring it down by using the 9 and 6 on the numeric keypad. Let's bring it down to about 11 kilometers. Even, yeah, that's fine, 10.66 kilometers. So what we need to do now is that we need to set up our nav receiver. So go ahead and press select and then press com nav, and then we need to press Control I. Then we need to go up here where it says focus vessel, and then we need to go down to the base and then go all the way down to Brighton Beach. So here we have a lot of docking frequencies or landing pads that are available, and they are all free, which means that there's no vessels on either of the landing pads. So we need to choose a landing pad. So let's just choose landing pad number 1. So we need to go ahead and put this in one of the nav 1 or nav 2. You can press SL minus to go up, SL plus to go down. But we'll go down to the number 2 for the landing pad. So let's go ahead and use this with 2 arrows to change right here, and then the small to change the decimals. So let's So we're gonna take landing pad number 1, so let's bring it down to 132.20, like that. And then number 1 needs to be the VOR transmitters, which is not going to be here. Actually, it needs to be in nav1 or nav2, but let's just set it at nav1. It needs to be 116.30. So let's bring that up to 160 and down to 30. And now we are set up. So now we can bring up the map MFD, and then we can bring up the VOR VTOL. And when we get to around 500 kilometers away from the base, this will start to go online, and then we can start to go ahead and proceed with our landing procedures. So now there's daylight, which we have planned in advance. So let's just go ahead and bring the belly down. So press H one time, then we will get the surface for a moon. Then press the 4 and 6 on the numeric keypad in rotation mode in order to rotate down, so that we have the billet down towards the surface of the moon. And now we just need to wait for this to get online before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and wait. Let's just time warp. And as you can see, there's terrain, there's mountains, so that's why we need to have that altitude of 11 kilometers, just in case, so that we don't hit anything. And now it's online, as you can see. So this is actually similar to the docking to the ISS, for example, the docking procedures with the arrows and such. So what we need to do is that we need to turn on the horizon level autopilot, which makes it a bit easier. And then we need to have it in rotation mode, and then we need to use the 1 and 3. In this case we need to use the 3. Then we need to rotate it to about a 45-degree angle between these two lines, this one, and then it will do a 45-degree about there, and a 45-degree angle. And then we need to burn our main engines, so that the yellow line right here is on top of this green line here. And the green line is the current position of the base, or the yellow line is the direction of our flight. So let's press full main engines by pressing the plus key. And now it's on top of the green line. So let's rotate it back. But yeah, it was to the left from the green line. That means that we need to rotate it 45 degrees to the right. If it were to the, for example, here on the right side, we would actually need to rotate it 45 degrees towards the left. Then just do the same. So yeah, so this is the distance to the base, and this is the speed. This is our current speed in meters per second that we need to eliminate before we get there. So we need to eliminate this kind of velocity, this much velocity, in about 285 kilometers. So let's just go ahead and bring the gear down, just so that we don't have to think about that later. And then we can just start to, let's just go ahead and time warp to about 150 kilometers. Then we can go ahead and burn the main engines in order to get our speed down, so that we will not overshoot the distance and then get farther away, so that we overshoot the base. So let's go ahead and bring the speed down. about 1,000 meters per second right now. We need to rotate again, and now it's off to the right, which means that we need to go 45 degrees to the left. So let's go ahead and do that. Then just fire a little bit of main engine. Like that. Then just rotate back. Alright, so now we are about 55 kilometers away from the base, so let's go ahead and do some more of the main engine burn.
You are clear to land.
2,500.
Let's just press the hold altitude right now, so that we don't get any lower. Like that. And now we can just wait for it to go down to about 20 before we do anything else, or maybe even 15 before we do anything. So yeah, we're pretty close now. Base is over there, as you can see, and we are going backwards. So we are actually braking. So let's just go ahead and time warp a little bit. No, actually we need to correct this again. This is the last correction that we are going to make before we do anything else. So press the plus key. And now it's actually going, yeah, that was the wrong side. I'm sorry guys. So let's go ahead and burn. Like that. Then let's go ahead and rotate back and then eliminate the last bit of thrust. But we're still not close enough yet. So we don't have to eliminate all the fuel, because then it will take pretty long time to get there. So let's just go ahead and time warp so we get a bit closer. So at about 5 kilometers away we can go ahead and burn the main engines. Let's go ahead and burn some of the last velocity. And now we need to do some time warp again. But let's not time warp too much, because then we are going to overshoot it, and that's not good. So there's the base right there, but we need to focus on these numbers right now. Yeah, so I just overshot it by with the speed. So what we need to do now is that when you're about 2 or 1 kilometers away from the base, and what you need to do, then this green line here with a cross will be facing the other way, and then the arrow would be facing in a total different direction. So what we need to do from now on is that we need to rotate. Oh, the time warp was on. So what we need to do is that we need to rotate this green line up so that is perfectly on line with this line right here. And then we need to go into translation and use the 1 and 3 in order to match this up. So I just used 3 there, and then we can use the 9 and 6. So we need to use 6 in order to go forward, in order to add some velocity, in order to get towards the base. So let's go ahead and add a bit of velocity so it doesn't take too long to get there. And now the base is right there. We're 2.2 kilometers away. And yeah, if you haven't tried to land on the moon before, it's yeah, the first times it is really frustrating because it can be really hard to do it at first, but when you once you get some experience, it really isn't that complicated. So if you just land in the vicinity of one of the landing pads, that's actually a pretty good. As the first time, that is actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and add some more velocity. It takes us too long. We are burning a lot of fuel on using the hold altitude. Which is not what we want because we don't really have enough fuel to just waste fuel like that. Let's go ahead and time warp a little bit. Now we are 400 meters away from base. So now we need to eliminate the fuel again, and you use 3 to get the yellow arrow on point on the green line. Then we need to eliminate the velocity with the 6 and 9 with translation thrusters on the numeric keypad. Then we can just wait a little bit for it to go down. This is just trial and error. You need to try it a few times in order to get a feel of how you want to do it. But once you get into it and have tried it a couple of times, it's really not that difficult. Definitely not. So now we're getting pretty close. We need to rotate again to get this on top of right here. And then we need to use the 1 and 3 in order to get the yellow arrow on top of the green line. Like that. Then we need to deplete the velocity. Now we're only 10 meters away. Let's go ahead and rotate again. And let's go ahead and eliminate all the thrust. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Doesn't have to be exactly 0, and the distance doesn't have to be exactly 0.00 because you have 20 meters in order to be in the vicinity of the landing pad, in order to be on the landing pad. So let's quit the hold altitude autopilot, and now we just need to descend. This is a pretty easy part because now we just need to descend. This is the hover engine, so you can use the 0 and the comma key on the numeric keypad. Press the comma key to deplete the hover engine thrust, and then you will start to go down, as you can see. And then don't worry about the distance coming up or coming down, because this is just 0 point something, and we still have about 20 meters in order to be inside the landing pad. So don't you worry about that. So as you can see, we are going down and there's no vessels on any of the landing pads, and it's pretty easy from now on.
1000. 500.
And when we get closer, we just want to use the 0 button on the numeric keypad. Okay. So yeah, guys, my orbiter just crashed, and I know why it crashed, because the Delta Glider 4 isn't really made for the 2016 edition, and because of the sound and the vessel itself, it's made for the 2010 version. That means that it would crash, but I didn't really know that. So that's why I made this in the 2016 version with the Delta Glider 4 add-on, because it had the autopilot. But yeah, basically we will we were just about seconds from landing. So what we need to do to land was actually just to press the 0 in order to add in some hover engine thrust in order to slow us down so that we don't hit the ground too hard. And then we just need to control it with the 0 and comma key in order to bring the hover up or down. And then we could see the distance, and then just control the hover, just the hover amount of hover you need in order to get a smooth, nice landing. So that's really it. So we didn't really need to show the landing. It don't really matter, because we just have to use the hover engines from now on. That was actually a pretty easy port, that one. So it was a shame that we didn't get a landing on tape on the video, but yeah, I will do in future videos. I will download the Orbiter 2010 version, and then I will do some EVA fun where we can get some astronauts outside the Delta Glider 4 and walk around on the moon and such. But there's no terrain then, but then you can actually see a landing, and I will do that in the future. But yeah, that was this series about going to the moon. It consisted of 3 videos, and I'm sorry that we didn't see a landing, but the Orbiter 2016 edition isn't really compatible with the Delta Glider 4, and I just thought it would be a good idea to have an automated ascent, so I could explain things in the start. But yeah, if you want to see a landing right now, you can just go ahead and find some videos on YouTube, or else I will definitely do another kind of fly with me video where we do some EVA fun, and then we will actually land on the moon and play some main on the moon. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But that was it for this Journey to the Moon series, and I hope this helped you. And yeah, so we didn't get to see the landing, but I covered how to do it. So we just had to control the hover thruster, so it really isn't that difficult. So yeah, I will see you in future videos. Bye.